Liberalism and conservatism are two principal ideologies that are wide and varied in scope, and are diametrically opposed to each other in terms of attitude and outlook. This is a deliberately brief video to summarize these ideological sides. Politics is essentially a combination of social and economic beliefs and what role government should play, if any, in enforcing these ideals, while protecting any number of perceived rights by people. In the so-called Western world, these two overarching ideological stances of liberalism and conservatism have coalesced into two fundamental sides of the political spectrum, what we generally refer to as leftism versus rightism, or the left or right wings. And that's contrasted by a number of factors which I'll discuss in this video. Keep in mind the terms liberal and conservative are used in a political context here, not their pure definitions outside this scope. With that said, here are the two essential differences between these two ideologies. Individualism versus collectivism. Conservatives focus on classical liberal values like individual rights and the requisite responsibilities of each person, contrasted with the liberals who focus on modern liberal values of collective rights and required obligations of society. The right perceives these individual rights as inherent, whereas the left believes the government grants these rights and tends to either prioritize or balance collective rights with individual ones. Tradition versus progress. This is somewhat a difference in attitude which relates to the speed in which progress is made, either cautiously or aggressively. Conservatives are generally slower to change and are more cautious in doing so compared with liberals who tend to be more carefree and risky. Judicial originalism versus activism. Conservatives view the written text or hear the spoken word with the original intent as the words meant at the time, whereas liberals might have any number of interpretations which relate to how they define ideals or meanings today. To be fair, there can be left and right-wing judicial activism, but generally speaking, conservatives protect original intent and liberals seek to reinterpret laws. Small versus big government. Conservatives argue government is the problem and the role it should play should be limited, and they're concerned with how much power and authority it can or should exert on the people. The larger it is, the more powerful it becomes, and the more it does. Liberals look at government as a solution to a host of problems and prefer it to have the power and authority it needs to provide services for the people. Capitalism versus socialism. Conservatives focus on free market economics, which rewards success but punishes failure, whereas liberals, who are for controlled fair economics, which redistribute wealth from the rich and provide safety nets for the poor. Fiscal responsibility versus economic stimulation. Conservatives advise spending within your means and investing in something for an eventual greater reward despite the risk of failure, whereas liberals advocate spending freely to stimulate growth in the economy while protecting public and private entities from bad investments or decisions. These are the most common differentiators between liberalism and conservatism. Both ideologies desire representative governments, though at the totalitarian extremes there will only be a number of elites who make decisions regardless of the well-being of the masses. Both liberals and conservatives seek to preserve liberties and rights, but can't quite agree on what they are. Freedom, equality, justice, and fairness mean different things to different people within these two philosophies. And as you can tell, liberals try to exert governmental control over the economy, whereas conservatives try to eliminate any state-enforced economic controls, which is what places these two ideologies on different sides on the horizontal plane, left and right. Whereas on the vertical social plane, there exists a range of different liberals and conservatives between left or right-leaning libertarians to the more authoritarian ideologies on the top of the social plane. Ironically, for something like the United States Bill of Rights, the left is more protective of some constitutionally recognized rights, whereas the right is more protective of others. Both sides have different interpretations of most human, civil, and political rights, and may seek to defend most of them, but in different ways for different ends. My next two videos will detail liberalism and conservatism within their own specific, unique videos, and those two can be viewed in any order. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.